Please like, share, subscribe.
For 25 years, we've walked side by side, brothers forged in the Marine Corps. And when the call came, we chose to walk with God. This is our journey. Welcome to the Not of This World podcast.
You know, yesterday was, I don't know if I mentioned this, sorry, today's January 22nd, so I'm supposed to be done with not paying attention to everything, so the last day I just was kind of jumping back into seeing videos again and seeing how I felt about it. And so far, just a day in,
All right, well, whoever's joining us right now, welcome to the Not of This World podcast. My name is Steve. That's my friend Josh.
What's up, everybody?
We are going to do something a little bit different today. Josh, I kind of gave you a heads up. We're going to be skipping around a little bit here, and I want to guide you through a story that kind of is going on with my life right now, right? So after we got done with our Bible study on Thursday, I came downstairs and I was doing my normal morning routine, drinking some coffee, whatever, and I put on this podcast. It's not a podcast; it's just a YouTube channel. Her name is Appalachian Homesteader.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of her before, or have I sent you a video of her before?
It sounds familiar, so possibly.
Her name's Patera. And I started watching her 2 or 3 years ago, and she was very political. That's why I was kind of bringing up politics and stuff. And she went from being political to being religious, and now she's gone from being religious to being, like, she's still part of, like, she believes in Jesus. Mm-hmm. But she is walking in the Spirit. She's had some really amazing experiences over the last 6 months that I'm just like, dude, God is working through her, and I can feel it. And just things that I'm feeling, she's putting to words. And so I got a video of her, and I'd like to share it with you real quick to show you what she was saying just recently. And as I woke up that morning, getting through my day, we prayed as a group. And then I didn't mention this in our small group. I felt like a lot of men echoed what I was saying too in the prayer group. They were like, kind of what Steve said, I kind of want that too. I want God to lead me, not social media, not our screens, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to show that video about what she said, because I feel like it was like this boom, boom, boom movement with my life where I'm like, you hear it once and you're like, is that from me? You hear it twice, you're like, is that from God, or is that me just having a coincidence? And I'll get to the third point in a minute.
Okay.
Alrighty.
There's so much going on, and I made a personal decision after I saw what I saw in June 24th, and there's some videos on that. Go back and revisit that if you're not sure. And it made me stop in my tracks and shook me to my roots. And, it's so interesting because it was right after all that Iran stuff, I believe. And I know in the depths of my heart, my feelings, we if we listen to God, and if we pray, and we really truly dig in, right now, folks, all the things that are happening over the last several years, and especially over the last 6 to 9 months, it is breaking things away from you so that you're broken down to trust Jesus. Let nothing surprise you anymore. Folks, the reprobate minds are on fire, and I'm going to tell you right now, I want you to rebuke every demon that's on this earth. And I think it's just about every dang one of them, because there can't be any more. They can't be in hell. I think they're all here. You send them back to hell where they belong, because they're coming in to steal your mind, your heart, your soul. Let me tell you what I see happening. I don't know what's true, what's not true. I've seen every type of conspiracy theory from here to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and back for the last how many years up until now. Some things are very true. Some things I'm not so sure. But here's what I'm saying to you. What can you do about it? What can I do about it? Put the news down. This goes back to what I'm saying. You better rebuke every single demonic force that's coming up and disrupting your life, disrupting your health, disrupting your finances, disrupting your marriage. It's a lot of you. This is what I'm saying to you. You need to chisel it down. Rebuke these forces that are coming in and soul sucking you, soul sucking your pantry, soul sucking your time, soul sucking your marriage, taking everything out of your mind, and you're not being productive. Don't say you're not, and don't say you are. I think we're all probably on a good day. We might be in the mushy middle. And I think we need to let the chips fall where they need to fall. And I think they will. You know why? Not because I have trust in a politician, but because I have trust in God. See, this is all lining up with God's divine plan. And we don't know the time, day, minute, hour, nothing. This could go on for another 50 years. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to repent, and I want you to pray, and I want you to accept the Lord Jesus, because you're going to be set free. We have to let go of some of this. I didn't say not to keep a pulse on things. Nope. I'm not saying to not stand up for what's right. I'll tell you what's right. You want to hear what's first not right? Stop killing babies in the womb. You want to line things up and push it on back to hell. Stop killing our babies. Because I'm going to focus on my health. I'm going to focus on my sanity. I'm focusing on my time. I'm focusing my prayer. Focusing on loving everybody I can. Even if you hate my guts, I'm going to still love you. Doesn't mean I have to like you. Doesn't mean I have to approve of your behaviors. No. I'm going to pray for you. If you rebuke it back and send it back to hell where it needs to go, and then you wind it back and control what you need to be controlling, first of all, you're going to be a whole lot saner and a whole lot happier. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to sit around and stay glued to social media and to the news that lies to you every single day? I hope not. I don't think this crowd. But I'm going to tell you first things first. The battle for your mind and your soul is hard on play. It's distracting you, honestly, in one of the best times of the year, a time where a lot of people reflect, a lot of time in which a lot of people give thanks. We should do it every day. Stop trying to control and keep up with and worry about things that you don't ultimately have any control over. God's plan is in motion. Your responsibility, my responsibility, our responsibility here as Americans, particularly is who I'm talking to, we better take care of home first, right? Ourselves first, our health, our husbands, our wives, our children. You know what? You may be being put or placed in a position right now to have these experiences so that you can gain knowledge firsthand of something, so that in your next time frame, or your, as people call it, the season, you might be the saving grace for somebody else. And had you not gone through it, there's no way you can help in the future. You're being used right now, so are your circumstances. But release all the things you can't control. I didn't say excuse them. I said get away from them. Keep a pulse on it, observe it, but don't absorb it at all. Especially right now, with the last 6 to 7 weeks going into the new year, you need to put your prayer life, your trust in Jesus, your health, so you can clear your mind first. When you do all of that, everything else is going to fall into place. Folks, I'm going to just tell you the truth, as I've always told you. Don't expect it to get better. This isn't our home, but this is where we have responsibility. And every time you feel kicked again, and every time you see something, and every time you're like, or every time you're confused, God's plan is in motion. And maybe, just maybe, you're getting broken down. You're getting sprung back again to go, the harder I try to understand, the harder I try to push, the harder I try to control, the harder, you finally go, I can't do it anymore. And that's when God said, I told you the whole time to trust me. We're beyond that point.
I feel like you've been at where she's saying for a while.
That's funny because this weekend I got a reminder. The sermon at my church was it was about they've been doing a series on people who like are barely mentioned in the Bible but had big impacts. And
Hmm.
Andrew, one of the disciples, was this week's sermon. And that long story short about the whole sermon, but it was about how like a small part can change the world
Yeah.
because he actually recruited his brother, who's Peter, Simon. And so um, it reminded me what brought me back to God in the first place. Because at the time, I was so wrapped up in all the political stuff, so wrapped up in all the things I didn't agree with in the world. And that experience I had where I feel like God came to me in the middle of the night after finally putting my phone down and putting everything down and just said, "You've been a fool. I am the answer." And he is the answer. He was the answer because he put a spirit in me my whole life that I have to fight, like, and I don't mean fist fight. I mean like against things that are wrong, against things that I agree with. I can't sit back. And that's what was driving me so nuts at the time is I felt like we couldn't change anything in this world because it was all so corrupted and it was all so set up from a top and by people who have so much power we can never touch it. And God reminded me that we can change the world because he is what changes the world. And just yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, it's good stuff, man. I totally understand what you're saying.
for
I
every
remember when I
one person that we can bring to God, we change the world.
right. Yeah,
Sorry,
100%.
just
I
cut you off.
remember
Go
you
ahead.
saying that you were even talking about going into politics at one point because you're like, I can't change it from my level. I'm gonna go do it. And
Yeah,
that
I wanted
that
to
was
get
like
into
one time.
politics. And yeah, that was, a while back. And then I just realized I'm like, I'm not going to be able to change anything in politics. The only thing it'll change is me because it'll turn me into a liar and a cheat to try to stay in politics because it's the only way to make it in politics.
Right. So I thought it was like so I got done with our Bible study. I came downstairs. I got my kids off to school. Whatever. I'm hanging out, and that I saw her video. And like I said before, she started like very political. I'd say 2020 is when I started watching her. It's very political. Very like it's all about politics and America first. And she had this experience where she saw like a spirit in the last like year, and she went from being like just religious to being like we are living in a spiritual world. We are going through some things that you can actually see. And so I was like, if it went in line with everything that you and I were saying as this podcast started, I just didn't use any of her stuff.
Mm.
And I just was like, dude, this morning that morning when I watched it, I'm like, dude, this is too coincidental to have this message come right after I got done praying with you guys about how I'm tired of this stuff. And I just made me like go down this little rabbit hole in my brain where I'm sitting there praying to God about everything she said. I'm thinking to myself, and I remember just that video you sent me, and it kept on coming on my mind about that 60 days screen free. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yep.
It just kept coming on my mind. And I'm like, you know what? I've turned it on like 5 times and never got through it. And it was a 15-minute video, and I watched 3 hour long podcasts, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what's keeping me from watching this? And
The devil.
so I turn it on and I get through the 15 minutes and I go to find the longer video of it because I want to see the entire thing. And I find the hour long thing, and I'm telling you right now, I was like so fired up because it's by this there's an interview that with Carlos Whitaker, and he wrote a book about this, but he basically goes 60 days without a phone. He goes to get his brain checked out before he does it. While he's on his 60-day break, he goes and lives at a monastery with some monks, and then he also goes to live with the Amish. This is why I brought up the Amish part at the
Yeah.
beginning. And he just talks about how slowing down his life he talks about being at God's speed, meaning it's slower. And he's like, Jesus walked everywhere. He didn't run. He didn't,
Yeah.
he's like,
Didn't intend for all of us to live this way.
right. So he just shares his story about how his life changed from like, and he's a podcaster and he does all kinds of relevant stuff. And I'm sitting there going like, I do have the interview and it's not very long. I'd like to show you that real quick and then no more videos after that. Can I show you that real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
For the audience that hasn't seen it before?
Yeah.
Cool.
To paint you a picture, in 2009 or 10, I was working at a university that was a beta campus.
Okay.
For this new little product called Gmail. And they were also a beta campus for this new little thing called, hey, we got this new thing. We're going to call it an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
And so they shipped them to the university, and overnight they passed them out to every student and said, we're going to follow it and see what happens, and we think this is going to change everything. And so I was working in student affairs, which is like student mental health, student crisis care, drug use, where they live, all that kind of stuff. And I saw in real time the unwinding of what Jonathan Haidt's writing about now. I watched it just in real time, and it was wild. And then it was let's fix it with this new thing called an iPad. Let's fix it with. And as I left, then I began working with students, and I've been working with students forever, but I've been working with different kinds of students. And my 20-year higher ed career went from, hey, I think I want to do this job, to, hey, me and my mom are struggling, or to, I don't want to be alive anymore. And that arc went so fast, right? The second thing, and I've talked about this to the people who check this show out, I had no social media when I took this job. And I remember a couple years ago, I was in my closet. There's a door. Inside my bathroom, that has a door. Inside my bedroom,
has a door.
There's a door. And my kids are running around. And I was in the dark scrolling. And I remember I just started laughing. And I was like, oh, you got me. Y'all got me. Y'all got me. I used to preach to parents. You got, well played. Well played. And so I found myself in this loop of I don't know what to do. And I say that like I know what to do.
Sure.
And yet.
Absolutely.
And then your book shows up. And so I'm like, who's this guy? So I called a mutual friend of ours. He's like, no, Carlos is the real deal. And so, and then you spoke this morning, and I literally walked out of the event this morning and talked to my wife, and I was like, hey, you hit the final domino piece for me.
Wow.
And so I'd love just to kind of start here. Walk me through. It's Sunday afternoon, and that little tag comes across your phone.
Sunday afternoon, we all get it, unless you've turned it off. Whether you're an Android user, an iPhone user, or iOS user. And the screen time notification comes across, and it says you have averaged so many hours and minutes a day on your phone, which honestly, it's not a very impactful moment for any of us. We swipe it away, or we see the number, which mine happened to be 7 hours and 23 minutes a day. And I would see that for weeks on end, or 8 hours, or 9 hours, or 6 hours. And I just swipe it away. Okay, cool, whatever. But for some reason, this one particular Sunday, I decided to do the math. I don't know why. I was like, let me just do the math. So the math told me that I spend 49 hours a week on my phone. So I was like, okay, hold on. That's 2 entire cycles of the sun. But awake time, that's like 4 days, right? So like I'm not counting sleeping. No one's on the phone when they're asleep. So just being awake, 49 hours of awake time, that's actually 4 days.
That's work plus overtime.
Yes, that's crazy, right? And so I was like,
a full-time job plus overtime.
Yes, that I'm staring at 6 inches of LCD in my hand. So then I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. So then I kept doing the math, and that math showed 100 days a year. So over 3 months a year, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how? I know why the notification doesn't say this. Can you imagine if the notification said, you spend 3 months a year looking at, like, that would change things, but it doesn't do that on purpose, I'm sure. Then I did one more equation, and it showed that if I lived to be 80 some odd years old, and again, at the time I was 48, I will lose over 12 years of my life looking at a screen. And that was my tipping point. That was the point for me where I was like, okay, I don't want to lose a decade of what I have left staring at this stupid thing. What's it doing to my soul? What's it doing to my brain? What's it doing to my relationships? I want to know what this is actually doing, what the damage it's doing, because I know some of the good things that it does. Like I help people.
That's
You
our
help people.
jobs. That's
it's
our
our jobs.
jobs.
Like I talk to people, and I know that it helps people, but it's got to be. There's no way we weren't created for this.
Yeah.
So that tipped my domino, and I watched them fall, and I made a decision to not look at a single screen. So not a iPhone, an Apple Watch, an iPad, a TV, a laptop, not a single screen for basically 2 months, 7.5 weeks.
I'm glad you did finally watch this because it's so cool. And you cut it off before we get to his results.
Right. Well,
Did you do that on purpose?
I did.
Okay.
I took it as God working through it all. I really did. I thought the prayer of the morning, I watched that video that I just shared with you with the Appalachian Homesteader. And then that video, I go back to that and I'm like, Josh sent me this video right when we started. And I was meant to watch it, I think. And I think it was God warning me, like, you need to back off a little bit before you go do this. Come at me in a different way. And I haven't watched anything on TV since. Like I'm allowing myself movies because I bought the book that he wrote from this, and I bought the Audible one so I can listen to it. I finished it in 2 days, and just hearing his story was really awesome because he's a Christian as well. So he's talking about how his prayer life changed and how his outlook changed and how everything he was doing was awesome. So it just all came full circle for me. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just taking it day by day now, going like, okay, so when I first got off TV, like I was clicking on to see what was going on with the Epstein files because they were just going to be released, right? I don't know what's happening with that. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 days. I don't know. I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I'm so over all this crap that we're being fed that.
It's funny because this goes into what we put on our last podcast, the Ashley Hayes thing. Just, I think so many Christians are feeling this same way. And I assume people who aren't Christian, they're feeling this way and they don't even know why. But our lives are completely opposite of what God intended us to live.
Yeah.
And that tells me that we're at the end because Adam and Eve were created to live in perfection. They were in paradise. And then that one sin just kicked off sin after sin after sin for 6,000 years now, to the point where our entire lives are the opposite of what they would have been in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the days and the times we're living in. Like, if you were to be a naysayer, like, I do remember my parents being like negative about the world around them when they were my age, and like, I think that there's a part of us as parents that want to be, just take care of our kids, and we're scared for the future for our kids, and you can tell yourself that for a little bit of time, but like you're saying, like, there's too many things like this. The way this worked out with me for this. There's too many things that God's showing me that there's something moving right now, and it's bigger than us for sure. And I mean, I'm in awe of how God works through our lives. I really am.
It's amazing when you get those moments like you just had. Just that realization where you can just see everything God just did, and you're just like, wow, like you just put all of this on me. You set all of this up. You just spoke to me, and you just had that. It's such a cool feeling.
And I even like was laughing because you sent me that video, and I'm like, dude, we're starting a podcast. Like, you want me to stop looking at anything online? Like, this is the worst time to send me this video. But I'm like, I'll give it a go. And honestly, I mean, could be the devil, could have been just me being lazy, whatever it was. I wasn't getting through that video at all. And just that morning, I was so captivated and so like, I was praying during the middle of the video. I was pausing. I was like, God, if this is what you wanted from me, like, is this what you wanted me to see? And like, just that feeling when you feel God in your life, when he's working through something, and you're like, oh, because I've had these moments where I don't feel God in what we're doing, and then we're doing a podcast for God. I'm like, how can you not be present with me right now? Like, how can this be something like? So I'm doing my best to be spirit led, but sometimes we're just making videos that I think is good for Christians to hear, and I stand by it. I don't think we did anything that wasn't worth listening to. But it's different when the Holy Spirit gets inside of you and starts moving through you. And that's what this was for me. Like, I was like, dude, this is awesome. So I'm giving up screens for 60 days.
Awesome.
So I'm making a rule that if I find anything from the past that I've watched before, I don't want to be influenced again, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So if I find something from the past that is going to be relevant to what we're going to talk about, I'm going to bring it up and we can watch it, but I'm going to try and get off, like, just bringing videos to the table. I'm going to start, like, reading books. I have a ton of books that I haven't read that I've just sitting there waiting for me to read about God that I'm like, dude, I know these are good books. Just haven't done it yet. So I want to bring different things to the table, like this Reconnected, that book by Carlos Whitaker. I was done with it in 2 days, and I was honestly sad at the end of it because I'm like, I don't want this to end. I want this to go on a little bit longer. I want to hear more. I want to hear more about your story. And he has other books, obviously, but and I'm waiting to buy them. But just it felt like God was working through all this with me, and I felt so good about it.
Yeah, it sounds like he definitely was. And I'm glad because I think you will, if you stick with this, you'll see you'll see things differently.
Yeah, I just wanted off the ride, you know.
Yeah.
The ride just was like, I've done the ride long enough. I've seen everything that it offers, and like there's nothing more to it, and it's almost like a trick. Like, it's just meant to make us anxious and angry, and all the stuff that we've been sharing on our podcast. Like, I knew it, but I felt like I needed to be informed to be safe and strong and knowledgeable. I want to be educated. Like, I'm becoming stupider by going along with all this stuff. Hello, today's January 22nd. So I stopped recording for a little bit. I just wasn't seeing the growth out of this process that I needed by, like, coming every single day and sharing little changes, because it's like one of those things where I was climbing a mountain, and you climb a little bit each day and you look down and you're like, I haven't really made it that far. And so I stopped recording, like, daily vlogs about how this process is going. But I continued on the same path I was going down, where no new news information, no YouTube videos, no new influences in my life minus God. I still watch sports. I was watching movie and TV shows, but it was mostly like old stuff. So I wasn't feeling like I was getting anything too crazy. And as the holidays were happening, interestingly enough, I found myself around people who normally know I'm pretty up to date about what's happening in the world. And the time I got to spend with people over Christmas and New Year's, some of the people have very strong opinions, and they are informed in my perspective. And it's not let down. Like, I know there's been some stuff happening in this world that it's worth noting. But I kept doing the daily steps of getting past things and hearing it. And the most interesting thing is, the minute I heard about what was happening in the world, I knew automatically the narrative of how this world's going to portray everything in this moment, with the news networks and social media, and how they're going to want to try and grab your attention, and how you can have a major life event happen, or an event that affects everybody, and there has to be content. And so you can have something happen that's a very big event, and you can have zero information provided about what happened and the mystery of it all. And then the speculation just goes into full effect, and people start to just share what they think, and they don't want to, don't hold me accountable, but this is what I think. And the people that we trust to gather news for us, they do this all the time. And I'm not judging anybody. I just, yesterday was
I don't know if I mentioned this. Sorry, today's January 22nd, so I'm supposed to be done with not paying attention to everything, the last day I just was kind of jumping back into seeing videos again and seeing how I felt about it, and so far, just a day in, like, I honestly, I'm not being affected by it. My emotions aren't running wild. I'm much calmer today than I was 60 days ago. And I'm just kind of chomping at the bit to see if it wouldn't be more beneficial to keep peeling back this onion. And if I can go without certain things still, without paying attention to things, if I can continue down this rabbit hole of where can this take me, and I didn't do a true 60 days no screens, I think that could be really beneficial. But even just slowing down, not taking in new information during parts of my day, to just be present with God, be present with my family, and like just more present. It doesn't, this world has always been crazy, and you didn't need to know everything that's happening to know that. But with so much information at our fingertips, it's hard to not want to keep scrolling and finding what's happening, what's new, especially if something tragic happens. You want to be informed, you want to be able to know what's happening. So I'm going to continue this vlog. I think I'm going to try and stay away from doing the same things I'm doing, and then kind of peel back that onion a little bit to be, maybe I'll cut out certain times for a certain part of the day and just share how this takes me in a different direction. Like I've said before, like I used to have anxiety so bad, and it just was building all the time, where I would be in the middle of doing something that should not create anxiety whatsoever. It could be just even having to go to a kid's school event, and just the thought of going around all these other people and different personality types, and how people are so outspoken today, and just the fight or flight in me, because like I think the problem is like you want to argue with people that don't agree with you today, because the viewpoint you have from everything you're collecting in information, you like, I know what I believe is right. And I think looking back on it now, I think they all feel the same way. And my biggest takeaway is the people that I haven't got along with in a while, just sharing with them that I'm not being influenced by anything. And my big takeaway from it was that I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of not being able to talk to people in a way that, like, if I say the wrong thing, like, I don't want that. Sharing that information is huge, because it immediately disarms the other person. And 99% of the time, what I found was, as people shared with me, that they're just as tired. They're fatigued from all this information, being told what to think and how to think. And it's been beneficial, because like even the people they shared news with me, it just boils down to, like, does this affect your day to day? I mean, you could talk about inflation and the things going on with the economy, and that definitely is, like, I mean, still going to the supermarket and seeing those prices so high, there's something to it all that I'm sure it's not beneficial for all of us. Regardless of which way you vote, there's something going on where they're gonna. I don't know. We're doing the podcast today, and we're doing predictions. And one of my predictions is that they will roll out this food line that's not going to be bugs or something, that's going to taste almost exactly the same. And we're going to find it for a fraction of the cost. And certain people are they're going to have to kind of cave. You'll have the nutrition benefits of like protein or whatnot, and it will taste just as good as some of the processed food we're eating right now. And some people are going to just go into it and say, okay. I'm not judging it, and it's just one of those things where I can just feel that there's a shift with that stuff, with the food. Too many things linking it to it. So, I think this vlog has to keep going. And I think I'm going to think about it and think about how I'm going to go about doing it. Because I think not being influenced by the news and just trusting in God is going to be my best bet going forward. And I do want to stay informed, but I think just hearing the news and taking it at face value, if you can find it, is going to be the way to go. And do it at one part of your day where you're just, okay, it is what it is. I know what happened. Move forward, because it doesn't benefit you to listen to it for 15 hours in your day, and that's totally different topic. But like, that's, if you're not being inundated with that, it's like, what else are you looking at on your phone? And it can be anything. It could be fishing. It could be your favorite sports team. It could be your favorite comic book. It could be whatever you make it in your life that this time is going to be filled up with. If you're not spending some time with God and having him influence you, you're going to find that you are of the thing that you are trying to be most enamored with. And I don't think God's calling you to step away from the things that you enjoy completely. But when you create a shrine through your phone to these different things, that aren't God, it's a false idol. And I want to remove all the false idols from my life. Like, I want to trust in God fully. And like, this news cycle that I got caught up in, the anxiety that I'm going through, it's not trusting God. It's not. And like, I can come off as being a Christian man, but I'm still pretty new in my being born again phase. I've been a Christian for almost my entire life, believer of Jesus, but born again not. I'm new to being born again, and I'm a baby still. So I just realized that like, you need to take that responsibility seriously. And if no matter if you're a baby or not, you're still somebody that God can use. And so I want to take this journey seriously. So I don't think I'm going to do posts every day, but I think I'm going to try and think about how I'm going to have this impact me, and I'll do it whenever I can think of something that's really life-changing. I don't want to jump on every day and be like, I felt this way, I felt that way. Like, no one's going to want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to post it. So, I love you guys, whoever's watching this at this point. I love you, whether I know you or not, and I want the best for you. And so, the best thing I can tell you is try and get into your Bible. Try and start reading it daily. I'm trying to do I just bought a brand new Bible for Christmas. I got one for Christmas, and I'm trying to read a different version of the Bible that has a study guide with it that like, it's one of those things that if I read it when I was laying down, man, I would fall asleep in a heartbeat, even though the Bible is very interesting, but it's just so much information. And like, I'm like, how can I have time to look at all these different things on my phone and be completely engaged? And I open the Bible, which is the most important book or information I can obtain in my day, and be like, I'm falling asleep. It shouldn't be that way. So I'm working on trying to figure out different ways to share the Bible, and just seeing the insights of how things go, and just, it's the living word for a reason. It changes daily for me. And just these things, like, I learned something new. Even it's the same words, I've already reread all of it once, twice, going through a third time. And now it's like, it's still new. It's still changing. It's still growing with what's happening today. And I just want to share my light. I want to have God look at me and say, he's used me as a tool that I can help others, even through my downfalls, or my the things that you don't see that are perfect about me. So, again, I love you guys, and I hope this message is kind of like a bookmark in the middle, where maybe I did 60 days and then another 60 days. So, and who knows, maybe this is going to be a fasting thing where, you get in the middle of fasting, and, you're like, okay, well, this was going well. I'm going to do it a little bit longer. And hopefully it turns into something really great, where by the time I get done with this, it will be impactful enough to like inspire somebody else to try and to back away from things. So say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Love you guys. So with that being said, Josh, I'm gonna call it a day with the podcast, and I hope everyone can please do us a favor. We're just trying to find ways to reach people, to get them to know about who Jesus is and how he's working through our life. So if you can please like, share, and subscribe, it'd mean a lot to us. So thank you, and we'll catch you guys later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Bye.